I'm Kristin Omdahl. This is my studio. We are live. If you're joining me live, please say hello. If you end up watching the recorded version, please also feel welcome to say hello. I get notifications throughout the day, so no matter how you want to join in the conversation, you are always welcome to join in. If you have questions for me, please let me know. I'm here to help if I can. What is it? Today's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. Let's see. Hi, Christine. Hi, Lily. Hi, Lisa and Donna. Good morning, Grace and Julie. Thea. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Melissa. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hi, Judy and Thea. Rita. I'm drinking rose tea this morning, and gosh darn, is that delicious. Oh, I love rose tea. I was talking to somebody yesterday about it, though it's weird. I love to make my own teas, like especially herbal teas. I think they're called tisane. I think when you make your own concoctions, it's really called Tisane. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I've tried to make herbal rose tea many times over the years by recycling cut roses, and I just can't get the flavor right, which makes me wonder if it's an artificial flavoring that I like in tea, but I don't think so, because anytime I buy tea that has roses in it it has actual rosebuds in it, but every time that I've bought dried flowers or used fresh flowers, I just can't get the flavor to actually taste rosy enough, if that makes sense. If anybody's had luck with that, I would love to hear your thoughts. It's definitely in my quest of things to learn to get better at making rose tea or herbal tisane concoctions. Let's see. Hi, Donna. Good morning. Thanks everybody for joining me live. If I don't know if you had a chance last night, but I did record a video of the kitties doing yoga with me. Just thought it might be fun if you watched it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It wasn't meant to be serious, obviously. It's just a little silly, fun thing. Hi, Mariana. And sometimes I think it's just fun to watch animals being silly and maybe watching a human gush and be so happy. I hope that it comes across that I just find so much joy in interacting with them. If it's fun, great. If it's not, the videos, like when I do videos that maybe aren't your cup of tea, so to speak, no pun intended, but like if you're just here for knitting and crochet exclusively, I make it really clear in the video descriptions and the video titles if it's cooking, if it's beach, if it's nature, if it's kitties or yoga. So don't ever feel like I'm trying to dupe you into watching something you don't want to watch. I know there are a lot of you that enjoy seeing different parts of my lifestyle and different behind the scenes. So I'm really happy to share other parts of my life with you. But if it's something that you don't enjoy, just remember I make it really clear in the title what it is, so you don't have to waste your time clicking on it to find that you don't like it. Thea liked the kitty video, so did Lisa, so did Val. I'm glad. Yes, Barbara, they love me too, and that's the kitties love me so much and I love them so much. We have like just this, I don't know, I sound really crazy when I talk about it, but I just love my interaction with them. It's so, so special to me. Hi, Migdalia. And I love sharing that with everybody else, too. Marcia's a cat lover. Good morning, Judy. Oh, Judy's posting links. Thank you so much. So if you didn't get a chance to watch the video last night, Judy just posted a link to my first kitty cat yoga video. Again, it's so much fun, and it's one of the highlights of my day, and I'm just so happy to share. I think it's infectious to watch someone be filled with joy, right? So even if it's not necessarily a subject that you love, watching someone be filled with joy is infectious too. So there's so much negativity in the world. Anytime we can watch or participate or enjoy watching joy, I think it helps us to feel joy more too. I don't know. I feel very strongly about promoting positivity. So anytime I can share something in my life that brings me joy, whether it's playing the piano or doing yoga with the kitties or cooking or going to the beach. I like sharing those other things with you as well. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I'm more than happy to share other parts of my life. I just don't know what everyone wants to see, that's all, but I'm willing to share anything. Well, within reason. Right? I guess we always have to put a disclaimer on that because you never know. ah, uh, yes, Trisha, the more we can share positivity, the more we spread positivity. So anytime I can share things that make me happy and I think that I end up glow with happiness, I think that that's infectious. So anytime I can do that, I think it's wonderful. And thank you to all of you for joining me here. This is so exciting that every day we get to come together. We have crafting as our common interest, and to be able to come here and share not only crafting, but the lifestyle around crafting too. It's just so special. Oh, Judy's sharing a link to the tea that I'm drinking. I like to buy, in fact, oh no, hold on a second here. Oh my goodness. The YouTube removed my thumbnail on the kitty cat yoga video because they said it violates their sex and nudity policy. Wow. I was wearing a yoga top and yoga pants and petting the kitties. And I didn't actually take a thumbnail. I had just taken a screenshot of them, of the kitties, of me petting the kitties at the end. And it's funny because over this morning when I went to check my stats and my comments, I noticed that the thumbnail was missing. I thought that's weird, so I went and uploaded it again. And now, right now, I got an email from them saying that I violated their sex and nudity policy. Yikes. That means I have, so those of you that aren't familiar with being a YouTube creator, that means I have a strike against my account now. It's the first time I've ever had a strike against my account. Okay, so you saw cleavage. I mean, but come on, there's way sexier things out there. I highly think that a little cleavage is the reason to violate a sex and nudity policy. I think that's pretty surprising. I mean, let's be real. There's no nipples hanging out. I mean, it's a little cleavage in a tank top. It's wow. Anyway, well, I apologize to anybody that whatever. I've seen disgusting videos on YouTube too, Lily. It is amazing to me how many double standards there are in the world. Anyway, that's an interesting way to start the day. Yeah, there's so much crazy on YouTube too, of all places to violate a sex and nudity club policy. I'm actually speechless. Anyway, well, let's get back to what we were going to talk about this morning. That was just so shocking. I couldn't help but say it out loud. And you know what? When crazy things happen, sometimes you just have to laugh. It's part of just rolling with it. I am a little shocked and speechless, but whatever. Okay, then I will, I'll make sure that, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. That's amazing. Yeah, obviously I can wear more clothes. Yeah, I can wear more clothes. There's plenty of girls on YouTube that do yoga in much smaller tops than I was wearing, but whatever. Okay, let's get back to what we were talking about. So I wanted to give you a little update on my Tunisian crochet cardigan. Yeah, I'm not wearing a turtleneck, Val. That's ridiculous too. Anyway, so I wanted to give you an update on the cardigan that I'm working on. This I'm doing in Tunisian double crochet, and I'm doing it sideways to create vertical stripes. And Did you miss showing my bag? The bag's sitting right here. I haven't talked about it yet, but I have the project that I'm working on. This is where I'm keeping, this is the project bag I'm using for here. If you are interested in any of my bags, they are on my website. You can find them. I still do have a few discounted bundles of 5 bags. There's a few left, not many, and when those are sold out, they will be gone, and that's only because a few of the prints sold out quicker than others, so you can find quite a few of the bags a la carte still, but if you want the bundle of 5 from the whole collection, there's only a couple left, and when they're gone, they'll be gone. I will be doing a new collection, but I only create each collection one time, so they're kind of limited edition, which is kind of fun too. So if you want, this one is called I was told I could bring my yarn, and there are some, I think there are 3 or 4 prints available still, or if you want all 5, like I said, there's a couple of bundles left. Julie, yes, I could wear a winter snowsuit when I do yoga. That's true. Maybe that would I mean, is it because of my size, right? Is it because I'm not skinny? All of it's weird. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so what I was saying is we're doing this side to side to create vertical stripes. I'm doing it a little bit oversized for me personally, and I have had several questions already, even though the pattern's not out yet, about how would I modify it if I don't want it oversized. And there's going to be a few things to consider because as a design that I want to be oversized, what I'm thinking of as the actual designer is that I'm going to make the body with a little bit of positive ease, but I'm not going to make the sleeves oversized because that would just make the whole thing look super oversized on me. So I'm probably going to go with more of like a true to size sleeve and then oversized in the body. So I will make notes in the pattern for anybody that doesn't want the body oversized or does want it oversized, does want the sleeves oversized. So you're basically going to have to think about your own wardrobe again. Remember how when we first started working on this, we were talking about measuring items in your closet. What size sleeve is on your favorite sweaters? And so when you're doing stuff like that, what's really great in a pattern that has not only written instructions, multiple sizes and charts, but it's that schematic that you may or may not really appreciate when you get a pattern. And in all of my garment patterns, I share a schematic drawing that shares the overhead view of the shape of the pieces and then tells you all the dimensions per size. And that is a really, really valuable tool in a pattern that includes schematics, because if you're looking to modify sizes based on your preferences, you can really mix and match different body components. This doesn't apply to like top-down seamless increasing yokes and stuff like that, but when you're doing things that are components, like this is a separate back, a separate front, and then separate sleeves, when you have those block pieces, it's really easy to customize it for yourself, saying, oh yeah, that width and that height, that works really well for me, so I'm going to do size whatever. I'm going to do size XYZ for the body. But you know what? I think I like this size sleeve to cover. Maybe my arms are skinny. Maybe my arms are fat. Maybe my arms have too much skin hanging down here. Maybe I like a tight sleeve. Maybe I like a loose sleeve. Whatever. I like size XYZ for the body, and I like size ZYX for the sleeves. You can do that. It's so easy. And because this is done in pieces, we're going to end up working the sleeve across the shoulder here. So what you'll do is however many stitches you need to pick up and add across, centered across the shoulder, it'll end up being half the stitches before the shoulder seam and half after. So even if you're making a different size sleeve for the different size body, as long as you divide the number of stitches you need to add on, let's see, let me see if I can show you a visual in case that doesn't make sense. So here's one of the fronts done and here's the back done. So when this shoulder seam is sewn, the pattern will say to pick up along the shoulder seam to add your sleeve stitches, and then we'll work down. May as well, there's no reason to make it separately and sew it on. It's very easy to just crochet along the edge of a fabric like that. So let's say whatever, one size would go from here to here, one size would go from here to here. Doesn't really matter. However many stitches you have, you would count back halfway, work half your stitches to the shoulder seam, and then work your second half. It's the same way you would do any sleeve that you picked up along a shoulder and side edge. You would always want to center. I can't think of any exceptions. I think you would always want to put your shoulder, I think you would always want to center your sleeve over your shoulder seam. So as long as you're doing this construction, it's super easy to modify the size of the sleeve compared to the size of the body. Does that make sense? Good morning, Nargis. Lisa says it makes sense. Joe does too. So does Judy. Great. Yay. Makes me happy when people understand what I'm saying. Wait and see if there's any questions. Thea says yes. Sweet Melissa says yes. Great. Yeah, so anytime a pattern is made in components like this and it comes with a schematic, this is something you can do on any pattern that has those parameters, not just mine. And that's something that I just really like to share. Anytime I can help you understand what to use in a pattern for what purpose and how to use those components to make things more customized to you. I think it's just really valuable information. Again, this isn't the stuff you learn in a pattern, right? And when you buy a pattern or download a pattern or whatever, you really are just given the instructions. You aren't taught how to manipulate that. You're only taught how to use it. So anytime I can teach you how to take something a step further, I think that's exciting. Hi Trina, good morning. Yes, happy hump day, one of my favorite days of the week. I am probably going to be dyeing more Be So Toasty yarn this week, and we still do have some really beautiful solid colors, and just wanted to put it out there to see if you guys would like to see some variegated colors in Be So Toasty yarn this week. Be So Toasty is my super soft and lofty merino wool and bamboo yarn blended together, and it's a #1 fingering weight yarn, so it's beautiful for lace. Also makes really soft and cozy, warm accessories. I'm seeing a couple of yeses for variegated. Okay, that's where my head is. Since I already have solids and they're still in stock, I thought it might be fun to add some variegateds there. There's something in a mixed color. I'm not sure if it'll be variegated, but some sort of mixed colors. Can you see me work Tunisian crochet in the round? I don't have anything that I could do that with right now, simply because this cord is super long and it would take me longer to add enough stitches to do that to show you live, but we could do it another day. Lily made a shawl with Be So Toasty. Oh, I bet that was lovely. Karen says, all the details I share explain a lot for her and it prevents a lot of discouragement with a finished project. Yay! You know, I've been in the industry for so many years, and for many of those years, I didn't wear all the hats that I wear now. You know, I started as a designer, started as a maker, and I would, and even when I started in books, I would do events. And, you know, I would get to hear so much feedback, and not even from people that necessarily were talking about my patterns or my books, but I get to hear people talk about what they liked and didn't like about different yarns. I wasn't selling yarn at that time or making yarn, and what people liked and didn't like about different books. And I wasn't a publisher at the time, and what people liked and didn't like about different patterns. And, you know, just because you get that information doesn't mean you take it and use it and apply it. But I have taken and used all of that information over the years. And for example, that's why my books have nice, clean, white pages. And that's why my books are written in really large font. It's not because I thought it was a good idea. It's because it's what I heard so many times over the years at book signings and different events that people struggled with how they read craft books. And so where was I going with this? I don't know. I forget where I was going with this. I do believe I was going to talk about the fact that being able to share with people what all you can do with patterns. I realized as I've listened to people talk about their crafting experiences over the years that a lot of people really struggle with thinking outside the box when they have a pattern. It's very difficult because there really just isn't a lot of information out there on how to modify things. And so I always have found that, especially having this particular platform where we can discuss things live with the live chat community, to be able to answer questions and really help describe different components of patterns and how you can use them for more than just what the pattern specifically says to do, whether it's talking about modifying gauge or yarn substitution or how and why you need to block things and what blocking really means and what, I have to wash this? Yes, you need to wash it. These are all really, they seem surprising that they need to be discussed, but at the same time, where else are they just being discussed? You don't get like, 10 pages of how to be a great crafter at the beginning of each pattern, right? Thanks, Trisha. I try to be a great listener. I feel like being a good listener and absorbing what you hear really gives you a lot of information that you can use if you so choose, which I feel it's always been something that's important to me, to take what I receive and apply it. Marcia taught herself how to read a pattern. That's awesome. Trina doesn't lose her place as much in patterns because my books are printed in larger print. That makes me so happy. Isn't that so lovely? Especially when you can compare it to other experiences. I think that that's just huge. I mean, here, you want to see an example? Let me pull out one of my older books and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Not that I want to rip on my older books, because, I mean, they're gorgeous too, and there's lots of wonderful information in there. I'm just saying, I always go back to that one of those Maya Angelou quotes that I love so much. Do your best, and when you know better, do better. There's nothing wrong with this book. This is a great book. And in fact, if you've never done knit motifs before, in this book, Knitting Outside the Swatch, I made a reference book of knit motifs and then share projects where I show you how to join them as you go, like you would crochet motifs. There are very few knit books out there with that concept. It's really cool and interesting. If you haven't done it before, it's awesome. But I want to show you something. I'm going to show you for comparison. Let me find a good. Let me see if I can find a good example. But there's charts and photos, and there's a whole section in the front of the book that tells you how to do each of the motifs. And then in the back, there are projects where you can take the motifs and create actual projects too. I think there's 40 motifs, and then there's, I forget how many patterns. So for example, look at that hat. Doesn't that look like knit motifs? That is all crocheted. There's not a single crochet hook used in that project. Isn't that cool? You can see probably a better picture of that motif on the cover. Even this project here, doesn't that look crocheted? That is worked on knitting needles, and those motifs are joined as you go on knitting needles. So if it's not something you've done before, it is pretty cool. Joyce. She can read a pattern perfectly. She cannot get it through the hook. What do you mean you can't get it through the hook? You can't get yarn through the hook? Here's another one. Another cool project that looks more crocheted but knit. Anyway, so here's an example of what I wanted to show you. So look at the size of the font here, and then look at the size of the font here. Let's see if I can try to get them side by side. So like I said, I'm not not saying this book is bad, and it is legible. I can read it just fine, but look at how much bigger the print is in the books that I publish myself now. And see that shaded box? Look at how small the print is in that shaded box. And that's one of the things that I heard over and over and over again when people would be standing in line waiting at my book signing events, is they would say, I love knitting books and crochet books, but I have the hardest time reading them, especially when there's shaded boxes. Yeah, oh, that's a good point too, Grace. These are glossy pages on the inside, and my books are matte pages on the inside. That is a good point too. All of the books that I independently publish now, they're glossy covers, which is really pretty. But the inside is large font and on matte paper so it doesn't glare. And there are no shaded boxes with print inside, which is the one thing that I heard so many times before, is that once there is shading behind the print that it gets even harder to read. Thank you guys. I just thought it would be fun to show you a comparison, because just because I say something doesn't mean it's true or real, right? I think it's always great to say, hey, put your money where your mouth is. What are you talking about? Anytime you can show an example, it's like, aha, I get what you're saying now. Joyce is confused. What are you confused about, Joyce? I'm guessing you're saying you're confused about how to get the hook through your work, and it could be that you're just crocheting or knitting really tightly. I know that's something that I did in the beginning. Anytime I would get nervous or anxious when I was trying to learn something, I would invariably hang on too tight, and anytime you do that, that is almost impossible to get your hook or your needles through the loops of the yarn. And all I can say is anytime that starts happening, it just means it's time to take a break. Anytime you get really anxious or stressed out while you're working on something and you start clenching or tightening up on your gauge really hard like that, it's always a good idea to go take a break. I know for me, when I first started knitting and crocheting, anytime that would happen, I would go take a cold shower so I could go back to it, and that worked well. But you don't have to be so extreme. I just happen to be a person that likes extremes. It doesn't mean everybody needs to be extreme. You can just walk away. But I'll never forget one of the first times I was knitting. I was stabbing the needle through the loop on the other needle so hard that I was afraid that if I missed, I was going to actually puncture my fingers. I was also worried that I was going to break the yarn. Like, it was so tight on the left-hand needle that to try to stab the right-hand needle in to make a stitch was near impossible. So it's just so funny. I remember what it was like to feel like that, and it felt hopeless, and it felt like, why is this me? Everyone else is doing fine. Why is this struggling for me? And you know what? It's just because you're new. Everything's tough in the beginning, right? Anytime you're learning something new, it's tough, and you just have to remember it takes time, it takes practice, it takes not giving up on yourself, and it definitely takes walking away and calming down. Remember why you started in the first place, to enjoy it and to relax. So anytime those feelings escape you, it just means it's time to take a break. Marsha's a loose crocheter. That's great, although loose crocheting comes with its own issues too, right? Sometimes it can affect your gauge, and you have to keep in mind that whatever size hook or needle is suggested in a pattern may not work for you to get gauge. Or you can sometimes get something that just isn't quite the structure or the crispness that you're looking for. But it's just always, whether you're a tight knitter or crocheter, a loose knitter or crocheter, a newbie, experienced person, sometimes it just has to do with your mood or the different yarns you're working with, or trying a different textured yarn or a different weight yarn. It's okay to take your time and go slow. It's okay. Maybe you're a very experienced knitter or crocheter, but you've always worked with number 3 DK or number 4 worsted weight yarn, and now you're trying lace weight yarn. You know, you might have a new learning curve, and that's okay. It's okay. Just like when somebody knits English style and they want to learn continental. If that's what you want to learn, great. guess what? It's going to come with a learning curve. You're not going to be as fast as something you're proficient in when you're starting something new. This also applies if you're a knitter and want to learn crochet, or you're a crocheter and want to learn knitting. It's very easy to compare your proficiency and your speed and your skill level at something new with something you're experienced at, and that's not fair to you, and it's not fair to either craft. It's really important to remember, I wasn't this fast on day one of the other craft. I got to give myself a break here. It's going to take time. And hey, I'm not throwing stones. I'm not trying to throw stones from a glass house here. I am much better at piano than I am at guitar. And many times that means that I skip practicing my guitar because I don't want to be slower and less efficient or less proficient. And so I totally get it. But when you feel passion for learning something new and you start to feel those feelings, it's a good idea to remind yourself it's okay. Relax. It's going to take some time. As long as I don't give up and just keep spending any little bit of time on it, all of that experience builds upon itself. And even if you give yourself 10 minutes a day on the craft that you're not proficient at, once you do that for several days in a row, several weeks in a row, you'll be amazed at how far you'll come. There you go. Geraldine learned recently that she can change the tension of her yarn by how she wraps the yarn on her tension hand. That is absolutely true. Wonderful. Melody, snowing in Arkansas. Yo, you stay warm up there. Yes, Joyce, you're a knitter trying to crochet. Yes, it's very important to remind yourself that do not compare what you're proficient at with what you're not. At one point, you were slow and a beginner at knitting too, so it's okay that it's going to take a while to get up to speed on the new craft. It's okay. Anytime you're trying something new. Sometimes it's just not the right time, right? Marcia put planned pooling of 2 years ago on the back burner, and now she's getting back to it, and it's frustrating her again. Maybe it's still not the right time. Maybe it needs to go back on the back burner again. Christine, planned pooling is a technique for changing color of yarn within a variegated color. You can Google it. You can find a lot of information on it out there. Yeah, Barbara, if you're very slow at knitting, I guarantee you will get faster if you practice more. Just spend a fraction. Okay, here's the whole amount of crafting time that you dedicate to in a day, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever. Commit to a fraction of that. What if it's 10%? If you have this amount of time for crafting, apply 10% to the new craft and 90% to the one that you're really proficient at. Or divide it up differently. But I promise you, if you commit to a percentage of your crafting time to something that you want to learn that's new, I promise you, you will get better at it. I promise. And if something is not working out well and it's causing you any negative feelings, I say put it back on the back burner. Whether it's for 5 minutes, an hour, a year, it doesn't matter. If it's not bringing you joy, it's not the right time. Period. Period. It's okay, even if it's just to put it away for 5 minutes. Go think about something positive for a minute. Go make yourself a nice cup of tea or a nice cup of coffee. Go pet one of your pets. Go walk outside and enjoy the trees and the leaves. Enjoy watching the wind blow through the leaves. Whatever. Anything that can bring you a little bit of joy is a good recharger before going back to something. Yeah, I promise you, Trina, that you will see progress if you do that. Yes, joy is the key word. Yes, crafting is meant to cause joy, and if it's not, it's time to take a break from it. That's it. And it doesn't have to be a long break. Just go focus on something else that brings you joy. Get yourself back to a momentum of joy, and I promise you the crafting will be more joyful then too. Anyway, great conversation today, guys. Thank you all so much for your wonderful questions and conversation and feedback. I enjoy this so much. I enjoy answering your questions so much. Thank you, Krishani. Can I teach more jewelry crochet patterns? Yes, I definitely have more ideas for crochet. All right, well, thank you again so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed my show and tell and different actually a few different show and tells. Hope you enjoyed chatting with me and everyone else here. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.